Hi, my name is Devan, and I'm a rising junior at La Jolla High School in San Diego, California. And for the remote program of Blue Stamp Engineering 2020, as I stated before, my project is the Arduino obstacle avoiding robot. Today I achieved my final milestone and fourth modification, which was integrating a motion detector into the mix, and that's seen right here on the left side. Here's a brief demonstration of this now.
Motion detected, motion detected, motion detected, motion detected, motion detected, motion detected, motion detected.
Okay, so first of all, let's address the elephant in the room. Why not the camera? What happened? I spent the last two videos talking about how I was going to integrate a camera, and there is no camera in this final milestone. Well, let's get into that. Upon receiving the camera, after weeks and weeks of waiting, there were so many logistical problems that arose. First of all, the camera has missing parts. It needs an SD card for it to work optimally, and for it to be connected to my phone or a computer at all. There was very little information online to help me with it without using the SD card, so I just really needed that part to continue. And lastly, the motion detection on the camera that was supposed to take the picture and then send it once it saw motion was very unreliable because every time it saw motion, the car was moving, as I found in my research, so it wasn't very reliable. So, enough about that. I'm just going to wait for the SD card and then go on and have that post Blue Stamp as my future modification, so that will be that. But my fifth milestone, let's talk about, is my Pir Motion Sensor, and this simple sensor is actually very, very cool. It is able to detect heat, and especially humans. So if motion is detected with a heat source where heat is emitted, then it will actually detect it, which is very, very cool. However, because my serial monitor on my computer was broken, I was unable to see if the sensor was actually working. It could be broken, it could be working for all I know. So I needed a visual aspect to kind of show me, is it working or is it not? So I turned to my previous modification, which was LEDs, and that worked great because that was a visual modification. So what I did was I used my previous code and changed the color from red to blue. So every time it detected motion, it would now change to blue and flash 3 times, and that worked perfect, and it showed that the motion sensor actually worked. Next came the weekly milestone challenge, which usually happens, as you know, because there have been challenges every time. This time it was the ability or attempt for me to have the motion detector detect something and then send a signal back into the app saying, oh, motion detected. So there was actually very few information online about finding how to do this, surprisingly. Not really anybody showed an exact way of how to do this, and I looked for hours and hours trying to find someone who had something remotely close to this. So I found a couple examples, none that were very helpful, but it helped me to kind of understand how I was going to approach this. So I either needed to change something in the code or in the app. I changed whatever I could in the code. The code for the specific serial Bluetooth module has a code or a command called write, and this essentially just sends something out and emits it to a specific application. So that would be my phone. And so that was right. The code was all right, and it was proofed by a number of Blue Stamp instructors, which meant it was a problem with the app. And really, we don't really have any experience with MIT App Inventor, so it was really hard to see what was wrong because we copied exactly what other examples said, and it just didn't work. And so we were wondering why. Why didn't it work? Well, my friends, the very first time at Blue Stamp Engineering, my experience here, I actually did not overcome this challenge. I've overcome every challenge so far, but this one we just could not figure out before demo night. It just was not possible. We spent hours and hours, Monday night, Tuesday night, and Wednesday night, attempting to figure out why won't this app work. And, we couldn't figure out an answer. So I did some research on my own, and we kind of used logic to figure this out. But the reason was the Samsung Knox firewall blocks a lot of information from coming through, just because it doesn't want any viruses peeking its way through into the phone and damaging it. And the Arduino sent information through the Bluetooth module from the motion detector, and that must have set it off and not passed the firewall. And so that is the explanation I'm giving. It somehow worked when I was giving my demo presentation, and I think that is because the firewall was down for a brief second and it was able to get through. And it was peculiar because we didn't know if it was the app or the code. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was the app, but I made over 42 different versions of the app, installing it on my phone, and we just couldn't figure it out. But the important thing about this is that I learned a valuable lesson about engineering. You need to have perseverance and determination and never give up. And, you're not always going to get the right answer right away, so you just need to come up with different approaches. And, it was getting a little easy because I kept figuring it out. So I kind of needed a little reality check saying, you know what? You need to spend a little bit more than a couple days to figure it out. So I need some time after Bluestamp to take a step back and then approach this another way. Maybe it's not possible. I could jailbreak this phone if I wanted to put down this firewall, or I can find another way. It's all in a matter of time. Even so, I still have an amazing project that I finished here for my final milestone. I have an obstacle avoiding robot with voice control and LEDs, and now a motion detector and sensor. So that's great. That was my final milestone. I guess I'll see you guys post Bluestamp. Thank you for watching. Bye.